Good morning, everybody. So welcome to another webinar. And today I'm very pleased to announce that we've been joined by Mark Belcher from Henshaws. So
hello, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
And how are you doing today?
Well,
no problem. You're very, very welcome.
Well, I'm in the office
very,
today,
very
but there's only kind of two of us in here. So I've got Caroline over there, and I'm in the boardroom, just little old me.
Well, it's a good backdrop. It's all those photographs. It's a good backdrop. It's better than my It's better than my kitchen. So today we're following on from our setup in the last several months of doing interviews. So today with Henshaws, I'd just like you to discuss a little bit about what Henshaws does and how you've worked, etc., in the last several months, and go from there. So obviously the first question is, for the people who don't know, what is Henshaws? What's it all about?
Okay, so Henshaws are a kind of northern charity, northwest charity, although we have a massive, fantastic college over in the northeast. We're a charity that was formed in 1837. So anyone with a calculator, because I used one before, that's 183 years ago. So back in the day, it was all about increasing independence for people, and that's all we're doing now. So it's the same kind of same script, really, just a different day. So Henshaws have been doing this for a long time. So we've gone through all sorts of trials and tribulations, wars and changing in government, and now COVID. So obviously we're all in this little war of ours, and and we're responding really well.
Okay, that's great. And what is your role within Henshaws?
So currently,
on that little bit.
Yeah, so I've been with Henshaws 14 years. So it's not quite the longest job I've been in. That was 16 years. But I'm getting there. So essentially, I've gone pretty much through, managed most of the services, patient support, children and young people service, the volunteers. We have lots of volunteers that do a fantastic job, and we won't be able to do it without them. We've got enablement services. Currently, I work within the digital realm, so that's kind of two acts really. So one of my jobs is working with a team that deliver digital enablement. So that's helping people regain skills through the means of digital technology. So that might be mainstream technology like phones and tablets and computers, and then specialist technology, which obviously you guys are all part of. So I do that. So that's like a physical thing. Obviously with COVID, and to be honest, we've actually tested it pre-COVID because not everybody has got the opportunity to see me and the lads. So due to geographics or just personal circumstances, some people physically can't get in to see us. So we've always had like a remote offer anyway. It's not as good. Don't get me wrong. It's not as good, but it's better than nothing. So so we also support people remotely. The other side of me is something called the Knowledge Village. So the Knowledge Village is a 4-year-old-ish, I think. So it's a relatively new, we call it a service now. It was an idea 4 years ago. Essentially where it was about me initially transposing my knowledge into a video or a blog or anything that anyone could then use. It's progressed onto all services now. So, everything our staff know, we put in a video for anybody to use. And there's linkage there. So there's linkage into the technology, phones, apps, magnifiers, OCR, all that good stuff kind of transposes into this remote world as well. So Henshaws is essentially whole life. So from babies to children to young adults to people like me and people older than me. So we do a good job, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, especially this year, it's certainly been testing for everybody. we've all had to change our ways of working to help the people we're there for. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. And that kind of leads on to obviously the coronavirus, which has affected us all. Is how has it been affected? How much have you been affected by the lockdowns in the early stages, the new restrictions that the Northwest and the Northeast have been put into place? How have you had to change to still provide a service?
Yeah, our initial response, and we was fast at it, was actually being able to work remotely. So everyone kind of forgets about that. But again, because of the way we've changed in the last couple of years, we got the training and the technology and the equipment to literally be able to up sticks from the office and work effectively from home. So we were effective in 2 days, because most of us were doing that anyway. The kind of sticks like me who like to work in the office, I had the ability, I just didn't do it. Obviously, we were forced to do it. So moving out of the office into the home environment was slick, really fast, really upbeat on getting that done. Then the first response was to communicate that basically to everybody. So I think we've got like 7,500 people that we're in contact with visual impairment, and we literally wrote to them all, basically saying we're gonna ring you all, and we did it. We basically did it on a priority. So with technology, we were able to look at our database and work out who could be the most vulnerable. Some people, older single people, they were the first people we called. So essentially, it wasn't really about services then. It was about getting an understanding on their fears and wants and needs, and then linking in, because again, we talked about volunteers. There was a lot of citizenship volunteering in local areas. We basically tapped into all that lot. So right at the beginning, we allocated staff to certain areas. And their primary job really was to find out on the ground who's doing what, and then linking people into those services. So once the kind of dust settled down, we were able to just offer advice. So that might be, what is shielding? What's shielding advice? What's the local measures at the moment? So we kind of became the expert of the local area and relayed that information to the people that we knew. So our kind of service offer changed, because it was really about reassurance and initial help in things that we're not really about, like food. The food was the biggest thing, right? So so it was about food banks and the inability for people to get out. So how do we deal with that, as opposed to talking about technology? But once it all kind of calmed down, then we started getting back into service offers. So for instance, me and the lads then were able to convert our usual face-to-face offering to a remote offer. So we were able to, with the help at this point, right early on, it wasn't a proper lockdown, so you still had the opportunity to involve friends and family. And we did that a lot. So we had this kind of triangle of support, where if we were struggling to talk to the visually impaired person, and support them one-to-one, then we did have opportunities where we involved the family members or friends. So we linked that into so we did like team viewer. So we were linked into, systems. So we were able to take over someone's computer or phone. And again, that was a different way of working. But then ultimately, I got to say, it was for me, it was like a bronze service. I offer a platinum service usually.
You most definitely do.
But we didn't have that tactile offering. So, we did basically the best we could. So offered reassurance and understanding, but then also, because that's what we do, get people either connected with technology or stay connected, which is another difficulty sometimes.
Yeah.
So you know, we were full on. You know, wasn't like we were twiddling our thumbs. No one got furloughed. It was full on, and it still is. So, kind of what's it like now? Well, it's been a bit of a yo-yo, to be honest, and that's basically because of the restrictions. So when restrictions were on, we were gearing up to waiting for the window. So we got PPE in, we got training done, we did mock tests. So I did kind of mock demos with my lads, trying to get them to take the masks off. By going, oh, it's all right, mate. Take your masks off. I've not got COVID. I'm sure you haven't. Just to see if there was a little window of them potentially taking the gear off, and they didn't. They didn't fall for it, obviously. So, so we went to home visits, and that was, out of if we ring 10 people, 10 out of 10 people would want our service, because our referrals through the teams here are hot. They're always bang on. So we have a really good kind of success rate. But then once we started talking about home visits, it was probably still good, 80%, so a couple of people would be a bit dodgy about it, but most of them would want us in their homes with our, PPE and those, we had everything like clean bag and dirty bag scenario. So no one would touch a piece of kit without it being cleaned and then cleaned again. So we had proper systems in place. But then there was that local lockdown. So we pulled away and waited. And then libraries opened. So we're now in Central Library. So we weren't going to homes then, we're going to Central Library. And again, it wasn't as good. So out of 10 people, we'd call 30%. So that's poor, but it's still better than 0%.
It is.
Because obviously people have got that extra added worry about public transport and a foreign environment, like a building.
Absolutely.
But now we're back onto home visits, and it's back up. So, I had a meeting this morning with the lads, and it's right up to that 80%. So people need technology. They absolutely need to either get hold of it or keep up to date with it. And that's why our service isn't struggling, and people are gagging for us to go and support them out there.
No, you're absolutely right. And as you said earlier on, you're right. In early stages, it was about the support more than the services. I mean, I use the term interweaving both, but actually, the support is also vital. Reassurance is a vital role, and you clearly have been doing that from the get-go. And again, that's really positive to see that. And again, those figures of what you're touting there, that is actually really good.
It's reassuring that,
really positive.
that people have a great understanding of how technology helps, because that's what I'm all about, really. It helps me in my life, and I couldn't do without it. And, I want to pass that on to anyone that I can.
No, absolutely.
And I don't know I was kind of putting notes in for obviously today, and there's kind of things that happened that I forgot about, really. So we did that giveaway, if you remember. So we got 30 odd magnifiers from we got a grant which we wouldn't normally have got. So I think it was High Sheriff's grant in Manchester. Gave us a chunk of money, right? And we bought small magnifiers and we gave them out. They were 30 odd. So we basically, at that time, you weren't allowed to meet people inside the home, but you were allowed to go in the gardens. So we literally, and there's some photos of us doing remote training with PPE on and giving magnifiers away. And even the RNIB, they give us a bunch of Echoes for now. So we've been giving Amazon Echoes out again, which is a great piece of kind of new technology that can help people in many ways that they wouldn't even realize that would support them. So, it's been good. It's been good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I say, that kind of already leads on and answers part of my next question, which was, how you've actually continued to help members. But you've said it.
Yeah.
You know, unless there's anything else that you want to add to that, but I'm guessing you've already really answered that in many ways.
I kind of didn't specifically say it, but one of the tools that we use when we talk to the individuals, and when we're talking 80 calls a day, per person, was a survey. So we did this survey, which is really about their needs and their wants and their fears, and we tracked it all. We did this red, amber, green scenario. So red was, we're going to have to ring you back and make sure everything's okay. That was always about food, right? Always. The reds were about, I don't know how I'm going to get fed. And then you got your ambers and the greens. But thankfully, there wasn't lots of reds, and you can see how it all tracked. So like me and you, first thing I was worrying about was food, because all the idiots were taking all the rice and the pasta off the shelves, and I was ripping up newspaper just in case I run out of toilet paper, which was like back in the day in the 70s. We all did that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, we did anyway.
Outside toilets.
Oh, outside.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't believe I even had an outside toilet. What's that about? We were the first street that had a bath.
Yeah, exactly. You can never take the northern out of us.
What else you got for me?
No, that's right. So, well, again, that is. I was just going to say light-hearted moments, because there's been quite a few of them as well with organisations. But you've already hit the nail on the head, really, with the ripped up toilet roll and the outside toilet. So no, but actually that is something which we found. There's clearly there is a lot of obviously doom and gloom about, and that's natural. It's human nature. But it's also been, even just from us, and I'm not going to go into it anyway, but there has been so many positives with all this, and so many nice moments of feedback, and people really saying, you know what, I didn't think this would help me, or I didn't think you'd be able to help me, and you have, and I want to thank you. Stuff like that is why we do what we do, and I'm sure you have a lot of them. I know, again, with the your giveaway with the magnifiers. I'm certain that was received.
Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes when you talk about these stories, it sounds that cliche or made up, but it isn't. We get statements of people on a weekly basis. It's just that we don't. It's not that we've heard it all before. Because it still makes you feel really chuffed. One of the giveaways, she hadn't read for herself for 35 years. Right?
Yeah. Stunning, isn't it?
It's just, and it doesn't take a lot to change someone's perceptions, and sometimes, I don't know, sometimes we come across people that just think that they can't, because no one's told them that they can, and this is how you do it. And again, that's essentially what we do. We do that physically, but then we also do that remotely, because again, it's some of the stuff. We were talking about lighting yesterday, and I know it's obvious, right? But turning the light on makes you see better, doesn't it? Anybody, right? So why wouldn't it help you with whatever residual sight you've got? Of course it would.
Absolutely.
But people don't think like that. They stick the light on in the living room and think, well, that's as good as it's going to get. But it isn't, though.
You're absolutely right.
But people just don't have that. They've got limited. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm not. I've gone right across our services, so I know a lot of holistic information. So, it's easy for me to say, oh God, it's dead obvious though, isn't it? But it isn't really. It's a bit like common sense, isn't it?
Yeah, it's forest for the trees in that way. And you're right. I know when I do a lot of training, I bring in every tool. The toolbox is full of gadgets, and the amount of people who've said, you know what, I knew about that, but I had it so far past in my mind, I'd forgotten about it, and you just reminded me of it again. And sometimes it is a little simple thing. So I totally agree with you. And things like lighting, things like filters, I never underestimate them because they have their place, they have their use in our line of work. And you're right, it is great to actually get feedback every now and then from people who even have taken the time to write a physical letter.
Yeah.
In some cases, using the magnifier that you've just supplied them, and it may have took them hours to write that letter, but you can see they've took the time and then they put it into an envelope, put a stamp on it, and posted it to the office. And I love that. I personally still get a great big buzz out of stuff like that. So it's nice to see. And it is. I never belittle our roles because, again, like you say, with a lady who hadn't read for 35 years, chances are she was probably told at the time by a professional, a consultant ophthalmologist somewhere, that, oh, you're going to really struggle. And they believe that. They believe that. And ultimately, there is more to it.
There was another interesting element to COVID that again isn't that obvious until you start kind of dissecting it. So a lot of people that we know, for whatever reason, don't use technology because they've got a volunteer coming to read the post, or their family member pops round every couple of weeks or so, and they kind of get by with that. So, which is a bit worrying sometimes because there's always important stuff that comes through a door, and it can be left there until somebody else comes to read it. But we came across people that didn't. All those support mechanisms, volunteers, cleaner, social services, or friend and family, they stopped coming round for a point.
Yeah.
Right. So we got introduced to people that previously was like, well, I'm all right. I do understand the importance of technology and I do know how it helps me, but at this moment in time, I don't need its help. So we had people coming back saying, right, how can you help me? Because I'm now kind of isolated in this situation, and I want to understand how this can help. And there's lots waiting now that don't want to get back into that situation where, they're not able to communicate properly, and again seeing. So one of the first things I did not. Well, she has got glaucoma, but one of the first things I did personally. So I think we got locked down on the Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Back whenever, March 23rd or whatever
23rd,
it was.
Yeah.
I literally bought an Amazon show, right? So for my wife's mum and dad, who are 80-ish, over 80, and they've got the phone, right? So we can ring them and they can ring us all the time. But I actually wanted to be able to see them, because I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know. I thought, the world was going to end. So, no one's going to be able to eat anything. So I wanted to physically see them as well. So I installed that. That was the first thing I did. And there was loads of people that did a similar thing where this visual communication tool, which is a good thing that's come out of COVID, right?
Yeah.
I mean, doing this now. Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we either wouldn't have done it, right, or we would have had to jump in a car and go to a place and kill the environment at the same time. So there's interesting things that I hope we all remember at the end of this. Where do you have to be in the office to work effectively? I don't think you do. Don't get me wrong. I like going to the office, but I do now understand the importance of home and how that and the benefits of that as well, that it kind of fades into work-life balance and stuff.
So you see yourself really moving forward in this for Henshaws and for you as individuals. You see that really this new form of communication, which has always been there, like you say, in its various forms, is certainly going to continue post-COVID, and again, that can only be a benefit of additional support measures that you already had in place.
I mean, again, a lot of the people that we support haven't got this tech, and that's one of the things we want to introduce into them, that is the ability to do this. And again, people go, yeah, but they got a visual impairment, haven't they? Why would you want to see? Well, not everyone's not got no sight, so it's still,
Yeah.
you know, a physical medium is a visual, sorry, medium is still our intent. And again, you know, for the other person to be able to kind of visually pick up nuances, it's not the same. And you know, 15 years ago, me and you would be stuttering, and the signal will be going, and you know,
Couldn't have done it.
You couldn't have done it.
No.
Your voice wouldn't have been synced. It'd just be horrendous. But now you can have a proper conversation like you was in this room, and I could turn you off if I wanted.
Exactly. Excellent. But no, that's we're going to continue this regardless, because it is beneficial, and the amount of positive feedback that we've had of all sectors, including, and again, we'd have to be very honest and say, the people who we really didn't expect to get positive feedback from people saying, "Oh, I saw your YouTube video the other day," and you think, "Oh, I didn't even know they used a computer, and it was a tablet, and it was given to them, and you assumed, they won't use that." Actually, as you say, you know, many people do. So it is a positive on that one, and it's great to hear that you have done so well and continue to do so well. So again, I wish you all the very best of luck in the future, and I'd just like to end on just saying thank you very much for joining us today and having this conversation.
Well, thanks for having me. I could have done another 90 minutes, really, but you know me.
Yeah. Well, again, if you wish to give your details, or obviously what we'll do is we'll put your details onto the descriptions for the videos, etc. But if you want to give any more details out about your organisation right here and now, then as Ken Bruce says on Radio 2, you've got 30 seconds.
Literally, look up Henshaws Knowledge Village, right? Either on YouTube or website. There's loads of stuff on there. It's not just about tech, it's about daily living. It'll go into all sorts of stuff, and there's great stories as well. There's something called Insights, which is, you know, expert-led people with a visual impairment telling you their story. So that's a kind of a new thing with Henshaws. So Knowledge Village, Henshaws Knowledge Village. That's us really in digital form.
Excellent, brilliant stuff. Excellent, Mark. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks
All
for
the
having
best
me.
to you.